I am guilty of judging other people sometimes. But when you walk in for your order sometimes, as a gig worker, you walk in and it takes you about 5 seconds to realize that this store is a hot mess. And you can start picking out the people that you're like, that person should be fired, that person should be fired. I was in the military, so I am all about like, go, go, go. And it took me a while of doing gig work to kind of calm down a little bit and realize that that's not my problem. My problem has nothing to do with these restaurants and how slow they go. Now, how slow they go does affect my day. And I learned my lesson and I'm like, okay, I understand this store is slow. I'm not going to come back here. So I put it on the list of stores that I don't take orders from. And I just avoid that store, at least for a while, and give it a second chance maybe to see if they get their stuff together later on. But for the most part, there are certain stores and restaurants that I just avoid because I know that the associates or the employees are just very slow or they're overwhelmed at that store and whatnot. This week's poll question was the cars we drive. So we had 237 respondents to this week's poll, and it says, how would you describe the vehicle you use for gig work? And 69% of the people said very reliable. 24% said somewhat reliable. 3% said not very reliable. 1% said not reliable at all. And 2% of the respondents said, officer, let me explain. So they are definitely driving a hoopty. So when I first started doing gig work, I would see guys roll into the restaurant with bumpers missing, dents in their car, cracked windshields, windows missing, and it would kind of infuriate me. I would get upset about it. And then one day I was at the parking lot at the airport and one of the other drivers, and he was like, John, he goes, how much did you pay for this van? And I'm like, oh, like, I think tax, title, everything out the door was like $44,000. He's like, oh man, how long to pay that off? And I'm like, probably going to be like 3 or 4 years. He's like, oh yeah. He goes, my car, I bought it for $2,500. He's like, in 2 weeks, I paid for that car. And his car has a dent in it. Part of the bumper's missing. He's got an engine light that comes on. And when he goes fast down the highway, his roof flutters and the metal on the roof goes, it makes a vibrating sound. But he showed me his driver rating. Perfect 5.0. Because he does great customer service. He jumps out, he grabs their bags, he puts it in the vehicle. You know, he does his thing and he's successful at it. And I kind of stopped and I thought, you know, I need to stop looking at people and judging their circumstances and their issues, the way they do things, and just kind of stay in my lane and focus on what I have control over. Because in a way, we're like, well, he gives the company a bad name, bad look, you know, customers complain, blah, blah, blah. If he was doing that, his rating wouldn't be 5.0. He wouldn't have perfect customers. Because people in the end, they just want to get from point A to point B and they want to do it as cheap as possible. Right and wrong, black and white, you follow, you know, the rules to the T, and the world's not like that. The world's not like the military. Not everybody has those same values and those same work ethics. And some people want to work faster and maybe not so much smarter. But it's up to each and everybody's own opinions on how they want to do things. I don't judge anyone. You guys do what you want to do. But the one thing you should do is you should like this video and subscribe to the channel. Like, subscribe, and we'll hit you on the next one, guys. I gotta go pick up some Popeyes.